everybody, what's up Scrubs, and welcome back to kind of a try my hand. You could count it, not really. I've been out for the past few days because I had my wisdom teeth pulled. I had surgery done, in my little mouthy, and it's pretty. And it still is now, so I'm very sorry if my voice is not very energized. My jaw is still sore, that's all. But while I was doing jack shit for the weekend, I entered in my first ever Yu-Gi-Oh! Tournament. I entered in noajenk's KYGO monthly. Keep your game on monthly. Very fun, very fun. There was about 22 entrants, and I got shit on for the most part. My record was 1-3-1. 1 win, which was a bye, 3 losses, 1 tie. And I know you're thinking, why would I watch this? Well, I wanted to highlight the mistakes I made. First one was I did not read my cards. Very obvious, but there was a lot of specific deck building choices that did not blow over very well, and some of you more experienced might look at them right now and see them, but some of you might not, and I'd just like to reflect on each card's performance, and I don't know. I just thought it was a fun experience and I might as well share it with you guys. So I played Agent Sprite. This deck is pretty much gone. It was a Sprite variant that was carried by Hulk, and I just wanted to see if it was still playable. I had never played Sprite up until this point, and I've also never played against Tearlament aside from testing for Jenkenstein's lab, I guess. Not even. Yeah, I kind of dove headfirst into this one. And this is a very skill testing format, and I was not skillful enough for it. The top 4 decks were, I believe, Statueless Fluonderies was the one that took the event. Second place was Naturia Runic, which ended up beating me, my only duo loss. And regular Fluonderies, and then I believe it was Valance, maybe? I think it was Valance was the last top cut. But I did not make any sort of splash. Round 1, there was some DC issues with Edo Pro, and we ended up tying, me and a Tri-Brigade Sprite player. That was a very back and forth match. Very sad that it went to time. I really wanted to complete that. And that was my 1 tie. But then after that was it was against the guy who ended up getting second with Naturia Runic, and he fucked me up pretty badly. And then my 3rd match was against Earth Machine, and I know you're saying, how the fuck do you lose against Earth Machine with Sprite? Well, let me tell you, it's highlighted right now. We'll get to there. And the 3rd match, I genuinely don't remember what it was against, but I remember I won first match very handily, and I was proud of myself, and it did not get any better from there. So let me talk about the deck first. The whole purpose of the deck is to go do your Sprite stuff, okay? So here's the cards. We got the agent half of the deck. Earth is hopefully your normal summon. This is one of the big weaknesses of this variant of Sprite, is that it is actually reliant on a normal summon. This normal summon will add you Neptune, hopefully in a combo, and then you will link it off for Almirage, then Neptune effect to discard, bring back the Earth, and make an elf. You could also make Sprint. I never did this. This deck was a thing before Sprint existed, before you would make Halka Fibrax. I was kind of just going along with this shell of a deck that just didn't have Halka Fibrax, and maybe that's partly why. This deck is pretty much dead and buried. But it's really cool. I found it quite enjoyable. But once you do that, you make your elf, you do your sprite combos. Then with Gigantic Sprite, you bring out Diviner of the Herald. By the way, this card has always been crazy. It is just, it's a level 2, it's a tuner, it's got a great ignition effect on normal and special. This card will always be fantastic, and it might make an appearance on future Try My Hand, wink wink, nudge nudge. It's just crazy. But once you do that, you send Trias Hierarchia. Hopefully you didn't draw this like I did a few times. Tribute the Diviner, and then to special the Trias, and then special Hanawada off Diviner. Again, hopefully you didn't draw this. It's not a hard Garnet, but it's really sucks when you draw it. And then you make either Master Flare Hyperion. I did not make this once, and that's because I didn't read it. Okay? I should have read it. I just kind of glanced over it, and I didn't actually remember what it did, so I just wound up making Barone because I thought it was better, but in actuality, I should have made this more. And then Master Flare Hyperion sends Parshath, I believe. I think it's Parshath. And then you add Fallen Sanctuary, which is a pseudo... It's kind of like... it's kind of like somewhere between Imperm and Sprite Smashers, which is funny. Yeah. And then there's also Majesty Hyperion. I'm gonna be honest, I think this might not be able to be put in the deck anymore. I think this is a remnant of the Hulk combo. I genuinely don't know. But 3 jet. You could run 2 red. You could definitely run 2 red. Or maybe a Pixies. I did not run them. You should probably run either 2 red or red and Pixies. Blue, Carrot, 3 Earth, 3 Diviner. I actually sided out one of the Diviners for a few of the games. For the last game, actually. And wait, what was my last opponent? What were they? Oh yeah, I don't remember what they were on, but they were on something runic, right? I think it was Runic Sprite. They banished all of my Diviners. They milled them all. Yikes. Just terrible. And then, so, once that happened, I was bricking on Trias Hierarchia, and I just lost because of that. Don't do that. Play 3 of these. I could see an argument for running 2 of them, definitely. If you want to slim it down, you can cut 1, but there is a chance something like that happens if you're playing against Runic. Yeah. Then there's just the generic tech cards. Oh, by the way, Sacred Waters in the Sky is just a Rhoda for Earth, which is nice. Instant Fusion and Ready Fusion. Definitely, I think you should play both of these. Monster Reborn, I'm more iffy of. It's kind of just a useful extender a lot of the times, especially in like a Sprite Mirror. Just so nice to Monster Reborn one of their sprites and do stuff with it, you know? Fuck. But Instant Fusion and Ready Fusion are fantastic to go to Alvain, which is a level 2 tuner. That's really good. Anyway, not as good because no Hulk, but you still got Synchro Monsters you like. Both of these go into it, by the way. Change of Heart. I'm gonna be honest, I only played this because I haven't played it since it was unbanned and I really wanted to try it. You should probably make this the 3rd copy of Triple Tactical Talents. Holy shit. But honestly, you could play 3 of these and Change of Heart. This is a good card. This is a good card. Maybe it's not the best card, but it's a really good card. You could play Harpies or something here. Whatever. Triple Tactical Talents, you should play 3 of these. This card was fantastic for me. This was great. It's great in sprites, I think, in general. At least from my experience. It seems just like a good... Because everything that interacts with sprite gets so hard punished by Triple Tack. In every single way. And one of these effects will always be super good for you. Maybe they really don't want to get hand ripped. Maybe they really don't want to get that take control effect, the Change of Heart effect. It's really good a lot of the time. Change of Heart is situationally better because it's only one of the effects, but you can just do it off rip. If you're playing against, for example, another sprite mirror. I think I did this during Tri-Sprite where they passed turn to me and I just activated Change of Heart. No, that was Dark Lord. Never mind. Forget that. But, you know, that's great. Stealing your opponent's sprite monsters is so good for this, and it's a pretty common mirror, so yeah. If you're not playing the mirror, you could side this out, but I imagine in most tournaments there's going to be more Ishizu stuff. I only ran into that with the Naturia player. Just like Naturia, Ishizu, Runic, kinda. That list ended up getting second. Check out noajenk's Twitter for that. I believe he posted it. I think, maybe, I don't know. noajenk's Discord definitely did. Reborn I'm iffy about. Change of Heart I'm iffy about. Ready Fusion, Instant Fusion, Triple Tax, not iffy about whatsoever. 3 Pot of Prosperity, this card was fantastic for me. There was actually one time where I accidentally misclicked and banished one of my elves. And I didn't mean to do this, I just didn't notice it on Edo Pro. I thought I had clicked 5, but I had clicked like both Sprint and Elf with like the same click or something. Or maybe I just accidentally clicked twice and didn't think about it, but I was like comboing off and I tried to go into another elf and there just wasn't another elf in there. Anyway, this card is fantastic. A lot of the times you only need one card to make a hand playable. Even if you've got shit, you drew Hanawana, you drew Trias, you drew Majesty Hyperion, your other stuff is mostly dead. Yeah, yikes, oh no. Pot of Prosperity fixes most hands. You draw a starter, literally a sprite starter. You could draw in Earth, you could draw even out Sacred Waters sometimes. Now this doesn't do everything, but it does a lot. It does a lot. Sprite starter is crazy, as well as Jet Blue. I don't think I really have to explain the Sprite cards to you guys. If you haven't seen much of Sprite like I had, maybe I should explain it because I was in this boat at one point. This special summons a sprite monster from the deck, and then you lose life points equal to its attack, which just makes it worse in time. And then it locks you into level rank Link 2 monsters. Generally, you could do this at the end of your turn for something like a red or a carrot, which, if you are unaware what these are a spell trap and a monster negate respectively, by tributing a different level or Link 2 or rank 2 monster on your field. It's just a good card. Sprite, all the sprites can special summon themselves, so you have a level or rank 2 monster, which is fantastic extension because Earth is a 2 and Diviner is a 2 unless you send Trias with it. Trias, ha. That's funny. You could also send, I guess, Majesty Hyperion with it. I don't know. You should probably take Majesty Hyperion out unless there's just a combo I'm missing. Yeah, starter's fantastic. It's great. Called by. This card is good. It stops hand traps. I did get ashed. The Earth Machine player was playing Ash. Not a whole lot else was, ashing me, but there's also, Ishizu cards. There's shit like that. I'm not sure if I ever resolved it, but it is a one-of, and it's one of the best one-ofs in the format currently, so you should run it. Super Poly, this... Ooh, yikes. This seems like a weird choice, and it definitely is, but I think it treated me relatively well. I'm running Garura and Dragostapelia in the extra, because I have the space for it. Since Hulk's dead. But... there's probably better shit you could be playing here. You could be main decking 3 Solemn Judgment. I would recommend that. You could be playing Kashtira Fenrir, we'll get to later. But this card actually performed pretty well for me. Now, there were a few times where it did fail me. I did brick on it a couple times where I just didn't have a discard, or liked the discard more than I liked the Super Poly activation. But it's a pretty good board breaker, Maybe not board breaker, but it's just a good card. It's a good fucking card. And if you weren't playing against a fusion deck, you could just banish Dragostapelia for Prosperity. There was also one time during the replays where I activated it because I, once again, misread Garura, and I thought it was with different type and attributes. Not same type and attributes. So I tried to super poly with one of my opponent's monsters, and I had like a red and like a elf on board, I think. And I super polyed away my entire board for Garura, and then I instantly scooped, and that's actually how I lost my last match. Yeah, not very desirable, but generally, if you're an actually good player unlike me, I think you will find mileage with this card. Maybe it's not the best. Maybe it's not the best. Maybe you should play Fenrir. Maybe you should play other things. But I think this was actually a good card, you know? Smashers, this is Sprite interaction. I mean, it only sucks when you hard draw it and you can't use it, and you also draw like Trias or Trias Hierarchy. Fucking hell, I cannot say that word. Trias Hierarchia or Hanawata. Yeah, Fallen Sanctuary is searchable as well. Again, kind of such a stuff. Holy shit, I cannot speak English. It is the sword jaw, I tell ya. That's my excuse. But having the interaction is so worth it. So worth it. Extra deck. Dragostapelia. Dragostapelia and Garura are good fusion super poly targets. Maybe you could run Mud Dragon over Dragostapelia right now. I thought Dragostapelia would be better because tier, but I only played, I don't know how many tier I played. I don't remember if the last guy was on tier or not. For some reason I think he was, but I also don't remember quite. If he was or not, yeah, you know. Definitely on Runic. It was Runic something. Garura is fantastic. If you're running Super Poly, run this. If not, I'm not sure what else you would put in these slots. Probably something that would wind up getting banished off of Crosby, but there are probably some other good shit. You could maybe play some other kind. You could play IP Masquerena, that's a good one. What else is good? There's not really the capability to make Abyss Dweller in this deck, which would be pretty cool, but you can't. Whatever. I'm running these because I'm running Super Poly, and Alvain as my ready and instant fusion target. It's just great extender. Fantastic. Master Flare Hyperion, use this card unlike I did. Garone, use this card sometimes, not as much as Master Flare Hyperion. Borreload Savage, never made this card at all, but it's not like there's a better level 8 synchro to go into right now, and I feel like this slot's just good enough to go without it. Pluto! I never made this, and I banished it off of Prosperity sometimes, but it's definitely worth the slot, I believe. It's just a... I don't know how to explain this. It's just like... It's like a Book of Moon sometimes. But it's like good. Okay? It's just a good and... It's just a good, but there are a lot of times where you just kind of need to make this if you're in really crusty situations, and if not, then it's a banish off Super Poly. 2 Gigantic. Oh, you could even run 3 of this card, even 3 Elf. Fuck, I don't know. Harshath. I banished this off of Prosperity every time because I didn't know what it was for, but you're supposed to send it off Master Flare. Don't send it off Prosperity. Dark. Yeah, you can really only make this with Blue and Jet, but this is a fantastic card. Steal so many important dark monsters, and this is just a free, if you steal like a Murley, or an opponent's Sprite monster, or any dark level 2, it is. You know what, you could just make this, and then it's just a free Elf, which can be a free Sprite, Gigantic Sprite, you know? And optimally your Gigantic Sprite is getting Diviner, but if not, you could just Gigantic for like, I don't know, red. That's totally fine. That works. Hell yeah. Elf, this card is crazy. You could run this at 3 and just make the third one a Prosperity banish. Sprint, this card didn't do shit for me, even though it's a fantastic card, it's just not really at home in this deck, to be honest. It's just kind of worse. Elf. Another thing to know about Elf. I'm not sure how much I did this, but I had no idea that this card had targeting effects until this goddamn morning. Which is like 3 days after the tournament. If I had read this, I could have won some of the games. I was playing this card entirely wrong. Holy shit. And All Mirage is for linking off Earths. It's pretty important. If you're not playing Instant Fusion, Ready Fusion, Super Color, take out these fusion cards. If you're having trouble with, I don't know, Borreload Savage and stuff, you can take it out, replace it with whatever you want. But I would recommend, if you're going to take these out, my personal recommendations, I guess, would be IP Masquerena and either Unicorn, maybe, Nightmare Phoenix, just other, like, utility extra deck monsters that aren't super important, or maybe, I think this is something so funny, this format, is IP Masquerena, Sprite Elf, and Mech Knight Crusadia Avramax. I think that is a very fun package, and I think it's a decent package. I think it is an underlooked thing. You could also just make, I don't know, Apollosa. That's a thing you could do. You could put in access code, whatever. You could just put shit, random bullshit in here to make prosperity targets. Yeah, whatever. It could use some work, but I think this is a decent extra. Now here's where the real atrocities lies, the side deck. Holy shit. First off, Dark Ruler. Good, keep this in. Cosmic Cyclone, good, keep this in. I tried to do something where I figured what are the 2 best decks that, you know, I'm not playing right now. They are Tier Elements / Ishizu Tier Elements and such, and Fluonderies. And what shuts those down? Zombie World for exactly Fluonderies, and I thought Necro Valley for Tier Element. Fluondery, and so I put in 2 Zombie World, 2 Necro Valley, and 1 Terraforming to act as an extra copy of either of these, whichever one I side in, to conserve space in the extra. I thought I was being smart, or not extra side. First off, I did not play against a single Flu player, but you should still probably keep 3 Zombie Worlds in, take out the Terraforming. Unless you want 4 Zombie Worlds, I guess. I forgot that Necro Valley not only is both sides, but this completely shuts you down. Obviously, you can just activate it after your plays, but that turns off Sprite Elf on your opponent's turn. That turns off fucking everything. It turns off everything. It turns off so much of your deck, and if you get board broken, then you just lose. And I sided this in against Earth Machine, and that is how I lost. Yes, they could not trigger Citadel. Yes, they could not summon it back. I could not do jack shit, and I lost in time because I got beat down by the fucking trains. Because all my sprites and angels are dinky as shit. Don't play this. Take this out. 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 This would be Zombie World. This is a honorary Zombie World. Nibiru. I mean, I only sided this in against Earth Machine itself, and it did good there. That's not true. That's not true. I also sided in again. I sided against Nibiru. I sided in Nibiru against Earth Machine. Didn't see it. And then I sided in again against my 4th opponent, whichever they were playing, and I Nimiru'd them, and I could not out the token. They had Bestials in their deck. I'm just now remembering that because I lost a Magnamut Beatdown because I could not out... I outed the token, but because I outed the token, I could not out a face-up attack position Bestial Magnamut and lost the goddamn game. Whew. But this is a good card. Maybe it's not the best. Again, maybe it's not the best. I'm not super good at tech cards. I'm not a super... This is my first tournament. I'm not super in tune with what are the best tech cards at the moment. Maybe Imperm is better. Maybe Ash is better. Maybe Droplet is better. I'm not really sure. Those are all entirely possible. Yeah. I also played Judgment. You're also, another thing is, if you're gonna play Nibiru Judgment, don't play 2, play 3. I only put 2 of both of these to do my weird little fucking Necro Valley shenanigans. Don't do that. Don't do that. Yeah, just don't. Judgment. Now, this card seems great on paper, going first. It was in a lot of the deck lists that I saw of Ancient Sprites back when this was like a real deck that wasn't, you know, murdered by the death of Halqifibrax. I don't think this card is that good right now. So much time rules shit. Yeah, you're probably better off playing something else. Now that the deck pile is over, I would like to fix my deck a little bit, okay? I already took out the Necrovalley, so that's nice. Let's just take out some of this stuff. Let's fix this up a bit. What else could this use? What else could this use? Well, the answer, I would say, is there's a lot this could use. I'm going to take out some stuff here. Now let's edit it a bit. One thing you can play is Alpha Master of Beasts going second. This is a great board breaker. It's not great. It's not one of the best board breakers, but it's a free guy. He's big. He can break the board. That's about all you can ask for here. That's a decent one. Plus he's funny. Now what's actually him but better is here he is. Hell yeah, you're gonna want 3 Cashier Fenrirs. Cider main, not sure. You are going to want these. I hurt so much not having them. It was really bad. Eeh. I really miss it. I really miss not having them. Another thing I'm going to do is add in the third tripical tack. Tripical tack? What the fuck am I saying? Whatever. Yeah. This is pretty important. Another thing I would like to add is this deck gets fucked up by Runic, and I played against quite a bit of Runic in my time. So no. Another thing that I could find is perhaps just another red. Handy dandy little extra red. Perhaps maybe also double cross. I think this is OC. I wasn't sure if this was OCG only or not, so I did not put it in my deck. But this is just a good sprite card. Is that the best that's kind of the best I can use to this. It's a good sprite card, which means it's good in this deck, and you might as well play one of it. But maybe not. I'm not sure. I'll test that later. We'll see. Keep that in mind though for yourself. I would also add in, well, probably myself. I would add in Avramax. Avramax and Masquerena, because it's so silly and goofy and I love it. It's probably not very good, but I still want to play it. And then what else is good? Let's see. What was that card I was just thinking of? It's a shit. Apollosa? Is Apollosa good here? I kind of like Nightmare Phoenix a little more. Yeah. We'll do that. That's a decent extra for now. What else do we want? We have more spots in the main deck. We've got 3. That's perfect for 3 cards of any type. Well, hopefully that are main deck worthy. Something that could go there is Imperm. This card is good going first and second, which makes it very main deck worthy. How good is it in this current format? I'm not so sure. I'm really not so sure. There's so much shit that can just kind of happen that Imperm doesn't interact with at all. There's not a whole lot of monster effects going activated on the field, and some decks that are just really good. Tearlament and Runic just don't really care too much about this card. A lot of decks do, but not every deck. And that's kind of silly to think, but I got fucked up by Runic, and I know everyone's getting fucked up by Tear. So maybe we could do something like a small Bestial package. Now, I haven't read the Bestial cards that much, so I'm not going to put them in here, but keep this in mind for you. I know a general thing is 3 Magnema, I believe it's 2 Druisworm, 1 Saronir, but you can slim that down a bit, maybe just like a few of it, and then cut something else. Cut the Change of Heart if you want. Cut the red I put in, cut something, you know? But that's that. But you could also play other hand traps. There's always Ash Blossom, which isn't super good this format, but it's always just a nice little card, you know? It's just a nice little card. What else could hamper my opponent's plays? Maybe DD Crow. This is a decent card. This is just a decent card, but it's, again with Infirm, it hits Tier really hard. Doesn't hit a whole lot else. You know, it doesn't. Another thing we could do is just move, for example, the Cosmic Cyclones to main. That's a pretty decent all-around card. I'm not sure. You know what? These 3 tech slots can go to whatever you want. It really can. Well, every tech slot can go. This entire side that can go. You could run, I don't know, you could run a fucking triple Nibiru in the main. Don't do that probably. Well, I mean, you could, but it's probably not a good idea. You could run other shit. What else is good this format? There's trap cards. There's different dimension ground. It's pretty good. That is not Wow. This is a decent trap card. Trap cards aren't super good right now, but, you know. There's also the newly unhit Macrocosmos and Di-Fi, if you're really that worried. In that case, I would maybe put those in the side and index shit like Cosmic Cyclone, or maybe even Fenrir. But for now, we'll just put something nice and standard in there. And we'll call that a day. And if this were a list I'd use in a future tournament, I would test this a bit and see which tech cards I like more. If I like Forbidden Droplet, Imperm, DD Crow, Bestials, maybe I want to main deck something else, side deck this. Mess around with it. Maybe you want a Harpy's Feather Duster in main, and you want something that's like a 2 of that doesn't impact so much if it's a 2 of. I don't know. Fucking play 2 of something. Maybe more things that are side deckable. Here, let me give you an example. Where do the droplets go? I could do that, and then I could get the double cross, and I can also add a Pixies. Boom. Isn't that nice? But generally, if you're doing these tech cards, don't do 2 of them. Do either 3 of them, or it's a 1-off. Okay? That's my advice for you guys, if you're trying to take it seriously, of course. Well, not take it seriously, because that makes it seem like it's not taking it seriously if you're not doing this shit, but if you're doing like a tournament, that's my personal advice from someone who just got absolutely shit on their first tournament, and these are some of the mistakes I recognize myself doing. That's gonna be all. I'll post the replays at some point. I don't know if I'll commentate them or not. My jaw still hurts a lot. But, you know. Sprite Agent 2.0. Look at that. We've fixed some of my mistakes. And I think, I don't know. I know that it's not a whole lot coming from me talking about how I got shit on. And you probably shouldn't take too much stuff from me, but I just thought this would just be a cool video to show my personal takes on what I messed up on, and maybe going forward. Also, check out noajenk and his tournament series, because it was really fun. It was really fun. Great way to just kind of feel like you're accomplishing something with your Yu-Gi-Oh! Ugh. Anyway, also, another tip is probably should not play a dead deck. You should probably play a deck that actually exists. Just saying. But still play your favorite deck. Still play your favorite deck, for God's sake. Doesn't matter if it loses to tier. Whatever. Alright, guys. See ya.